Okay, so today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite comic book artists, and that is Jim Rugg. He's a co-host slash co-creator of the cartoonist Kayfabe. He's done a handful of works such as Street Angels. He recently put out something called Plain Janes, but today we're going to go over Octobriana, the world's first blacklight comic book. Now, in case you needed a quick little history over Octobriana, she was originally created in order to keep the authentic communist views in play. People were afraid that they were being askewed and wanted to keep them alive through this comic book character. In true communist fashion, there was never a patent for it, so anyone can create something, publish it, and have no problem with copyright. Well, maybe not no problem. The history on it's really interesting, and I would look it up if I was you. There's plenty of info out there. But what Jim tried to do was kick it up a notch and make this where you can read this completely under blacklight. Not only did he make the world's first blacklight comic, we're also going to go over its sisters, the black and white version, and the retro colored version. I also have a bit of a theory. Before we get to that, let's talk about the black and white variant. Now, there's a few things different about the black and white version. First thing I noticed, besides it being colorless, was how light it feels. Like how physically light it feels compared to the other two was kind of mind-boggling. Because started with the white edition, went to the retro, got to this gal and was like, whoo! And it's interesting because when you think about choosing different papers or choosing different colors, that a comic could be so different even though it's the same story over and over again. So I really liked the black and white because not only can you see the difference, you can like feel the difference. You can feel it in the paper, you can feel it in the weight, and it's just, it looks really, really good for being done in black, white, grayscales, okay? Like, I could understand some people, like, not getting it and, like, being confused why you would want a colorless version, but honestly, I wanted to see what he was able to do with being limited with colors, the different papers he would choose between the three, and honestly, I can say each one is its own experience, and like I said, you can literally feel the difference. Now, with that said, with the lightweightness, I could see this one almost being like an ash can or like a zine. I almost want to take it a step further and make it a little bit smaller, like make it actually petite. I really liked this one. One other thing, however, that I thought was a little interesting that I couldn't find info about. Maybe I missed something. I went through a few like of Jim's process videos. Couldn't find out why. This says 1986 on it. So if anyone knows why the date on this is different compared to the other two, let me know. I don't know if it's specifically a version throwback to something made in the 80s, or if it was an honest typo. But for some reason, the black and white says 1986 on it, so if anyone has any info, let me know. The next one up, I know, is called the retro colored version. I like to refer to it more as the Grindhouse version, because that's kind of what it feels like. 1976, pretty good time for Grindhouse movies, and it takes on the full badass revenge theme. It goes like full attitude with like the burnt pages, like it looks like it's been through some rough hands. And the colors on this, for it being the retro colored version, for it being on what feels like old newspaper paper, it's still really bright. I thought this one was going to be maybe a little bit more faded. I mean, it is compared to the blacklight book, but as a comic book, just kind of in general, she looks fresh off the press, which is fine, which is totally totally fine, but I really do love the used, the burnt. Looks like she has fought against Father Time. It looks like she survived your mom's basement. Maybe some like water damage, you know? Thankfully, it's just the cover. She came in great condition. It's just a look. But I am pretty glad that he went full grindhouse, like, badass vibes for this, and like how well it looks for not actually being used. I also want to say this one's probably like the heaviest of the three. She's got really thick newspaper pages, which works really, really well with the color. And it smells like a pretty good comic book. I don't know, if you like smelling comic books, this is the one. Okay, just running through these guys. And we're already on the blacklight issue. Before we turn on the blacklight, I have a theory. Stay with me. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Alright? There are a few pages in the Octobriana book that do a little bit of a 3D effect, and also a couple months back I did, maybe it's been a year, a while back I did a review on Space Raiders from Black Mask, and the colors were so bright and vibrant that they actually worked with 3D glasses. So I'm here to test it on the first ever blacklight comic book. Let's see if all the colors actually do anything with 3D glasses. Huh? So let's start with the page that's supposed to work. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Helicopter scene. That's trippy. So the page that's done in 3D effect does in fact work in 3D. It's not like full lenticular, but the rubble and her bike, yeah, this works, guys. Okay, so 3D page does the 3D thing. What about the rest of the book? And the one page, my favorite page. Ooh. Whoa. Yellows, pinks, orange. Oh yeah. Not all of it does a 3D thing, but some of the coloring has changed. I don't know, man. Ooh, her face? That's weird. It's like, oh man, I can't remember what that fish book was. The fish with the scales, the really pretty scales, and everything's all highlighted and shiny. That's kind of the effect you get with 3D glasses. Like, it's not a full 3D effect. Oh, that's cool. But with the right colors layered on top of each other, yeah, see, like the pink like sticks out way far from the yellow. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say this works. I'm gonna say this is 3D glasses approved. Fight me on it. Let's argue over it in the comments. But I don't want to give away too much of the book. I want to say, yeah, I want to say this works. Oh, that little fire in the back. And then he does, you catch more of the little details. Like I can see more like highlights and like these little buttons and like, this is cool. Like the mountains, this actually works really well with the blues. This is, ooh, I don't know. If you want a reason to reread it, try it with 3D glasses. It's pretty fun. Like I said, not all of it is full 3D effect, but like, it's shiny. It sure is pretty. I think it does this with the retro. Yeah, probably not, because the retro is on, like I said, old newspaper. This is on like a glossy paper, so I think the gloss, ooh, even the cover. I think the gloss helps. Honestly. Gives it that fishy effect. This is cool though. So yeah, if you want to reread it, if you need a reason to pick it up again, find a pair of 3D glasses. This is from my Batman video game for my PlayStation 3. I'm not saying it's easy to find a pair, but if you can, this is a new experience. This is pretty fun. I won't lie, it's fun. I don't know. Okay. We looked at the black and white version. We looked at the retro colored version. Now that we've tested out my theory, now that I've got that out of the way, curiosity, cat, killed. Done. We can finally move on and test and see what she looks like in the way it's supposed to be read, full blacklight. Okay, so obviously the cover works. I think going with the gloss paper definitely makes a difference. And yeah, the colors super vibrant, super clean cut. My blacklight is pretty far from the actual comic book and it still brightens up. So it's pretty wild seeing what like just the texture of a book will make a difference. This thing works in 3D, this thing works in blacklight, even just a little bit of blacklight, and it's still pretty radiant. It's a super fun read, whether it's the retro, the blacklight, or the black and white. And honestly, I feel like anyone who reads comics or anyone who's like into art is gonna get a kick out of this one. Now, with that all said, I do have a few concerns or remarks, I guess. I don't know. I really don't want to be negative, but there are a few observations that I've made about this series. First of all, I wanted more. I thought it was really good. I was hyped for it. Great story. Again, lots of action, lots of fun. But as soon as I finished it, I went, that's it? I need more of this. We're just getting started. Like this, I don't know. With how nice each of them are done, I just want more. Like, that's the only complaint I have, is I need more content because the content was so good and so cool. Not a bad complaint to have, right? Like, that there's been worse things said about books. I feel like the black and white is a little light, and if you know the price and break that down, unfortunately I can see some people not being in love with it, you know? Now, as someone who likes comics, as someone who watches cartoonist kayfabe, as someone who knows who Jim Rugg is, I can appreciate these books. Again, it's kind of a moment in history. It was a Kickstarter project. There's a few things as to why this series is valuable, but as a new comic book reader, as someone who doesn't really like collect or like know or understand issues, I could see some people passing on this, and that's a dang shame because they really don't know what they're missing out on. I liked it though. I thought it was fun. I thought he nailed what he was out to do. Like, he went out to do the world's first blacklight comic. We nailed it. He did the black and white version. Again, nailed it. He made all 3 books individual with their own little personality. Really fun to reread. Again, if you're rereading the same story 3 times, at least make it interesting. And Jim Rugg did. Again, it's all I can ask for. So a little bit more. And maybe just a little bit cheaper. Again, I get it. You can literally watch his entire process. There's even another one, it's the PDF one, which I didn't go over because I thought holding my phone would be a little difficult. I know that the blacklight version, was in comic book shops for a little while. Might be a little harder to get now. But like I said, Jim seems to be a reasonable man. Maybe he's got a few lying around. Maybe if you shoot them an email or something, you can probably get your hands on this still. And if not, there's always eBay. So, I'm Super Silly, and I'll see y'all